Hi everybody. So, as I promised, now it's a little sunny here, so we're going to read a little bit out of this book. Where as in me. So, this is that fabulous, it's a hardware book that a lovely young lady named Bertha E. Batt in September of 1905 found articles and pasted them into this hardware catalog. So I said I was going to read some, so we're going to start it today. Let's go. So you're just going to basically listen to me read. And I'm getting better. So my son was like, if you are going to try to look at the camera, stick a little sticky near where the camera is, and then you're going to know where to look. So guess what I did today? I put a sticky over here. So now I'm going to look correctly at the camera. So just a little quickie. It is after the 4th of July. The temperature is pretty warm today. This morning, we had, while I was gone away in Buffalo, my poor honey bun, Jeffrey Parker, drove the car to work one day. He normally takes a motorcycle, but he drove the car one day to work. The one time he took the car, he parked the car in the garage. He didn't use the car for a few days, went to the garage, cracked windshield. So the thing in Nevada that is very interesting to me and crazy, which I don't understand, they do not have car inspections here, and things like a cracked windshield don't matter as much as they do in other states. Like New York State, your car has to have viable tires. You cannot have a cracked windshield across the screen, like across the face of the driver. You have to have brakes. You have to have windows. Things like that apparently other states don't care as much about it, which is very bizarre to me. So we wanted to totally 100% make sure that we had that windshield fixed, because it's not fun to drive when you're distracted by a crack right across your face. He drives it one day, gets a crack. Oh, crazy. So this morning we had the windshield fixed. While we were getting the windshield fixed, we went and we had some breakfast, which was delicious. We went to Hash House A Go-Go, which is a chain. We normally like going to local restaurants, but it was pretty yummy. Their chicken is delicious. I had chicken and waffle. Yummy. And then we walked back to the, it's Safe Light Glass or whatever. We walked back there. And on our way, of course, there was a little thrift store, so I had to stop. I will be doing a video of box openings and a few of my finds. I went thrifting with Sunny this week at the bins, and then I just got this little thing right here. And I have some mystery boxes, and I have a whole bunch of other stuff. So there's going to be a nice big video coming of opening some things very shortly. But I wanted to get to reading because I promise. And once I read this whole book, my email is in the description. So if you are interested in having this book, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for it. Send me an email with giveaway in the title or the subject line, and just send me your, I'll just need your address so that I could send this off to you if you are the lucky winner. Okay? So let's get reading. Now I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm nearsighted. I'm a little bit better reading close up, minus these babies. So off we go. Ow! Don't I always pull my hair out? Oh, that hurt. I have like no hair left here from pulling it off. Okay, so here's the book. Okay. And the first story is A Dallying Lover. And I read a paragraph of it previously, so I'm going to finish this story and possibly start the next, as long as it's not too long. Let's see what happens. We're going to go for about 15 minutes here, okay? Hang out with me, folks. A Dallying Lover by M. Quaid. Copyright 1903 by Daily Story Publishing Company. There was no doubt that Joe Beebe fully intended to marry Hannah Ray someday, but that someday was an indefinite quantity. Joe was a young farmer. He was a hustler so far as work was concerned, but he was lethargic as a lover. For 3 or 4 nights a week, for 3 or 4 years, he had come courting. It had long been settled that he loved Hannah Ray 10 times more than any other girl in Climax County could be loved, and that they would live so and so when they got married, but he hadn't asked her to name the happy day. I love the language of this time frame because it's so different from us, right? The way that they speak. Oh, now I lost my spot. There had come to be considerable outside talk over the way things had dragged along, and Hannah's mother was threatening to ask Joe if he intended to wait until his calves became oxen when Grandma Ray arrived on a visit. She was a brisk little woman, 65 years old, and she had a feather bed and 3 quilts ready as a marriage gift for the last 2 years. The main object of her visit was to discover what the trouble was, and she had hardly removed her bonnet when she was saying, "Now, Hannah Ray, I want to know all about it. Is that feller of yours a man or a grasshopper? Does he think he can keep this thing up for 10 or 15 years longer, or is he going to walk the choke line and have it over with?" I don't know what a choke line is. If you know what that is, let me know. Hannah contended that Joe was all right. He wasn't as impetuous as some lovers, but he meant marriage and would get around to it in good time. Only a night or two previously, he had remarked that when they were married, they would have green blinds on their house. "Don't talk to me, Hannah," replied Grandma as she shook her head. "I'm telling you that you've got a hold of a man who'll dilly-dally along for 10 years more unless something occurs to jar him. I've known 1 or 2 like him in my time. I'll put green blinds on his eyes before I'm through with him. That's what I've come for." "But I can't ask him to set the day, can I?" protested Hannah. "No, of course not, but I can, and I'll do it before the week is over. It ain't right for any man to hang around a girl as Joe Baby has hung around you. If he keeps it up much longer, you'll get sick of each other, and he'll be running away with some widder, and you'll be eloping with the windmill man. I shan't do nothing to shame you or get up a quarrel, but I've come to lay down the law to Joe Baby and give him a jar." "I wish you'd let him alone. I'm no more in a hurry to get married than Joe is. How it will look for you to ask him why we don't get married. I'd be ashamed to look him in the face again if you did. Hannah Ray, you are only a girl, and a foolish girl at that, and your mother ought to have taken this thing in hand long ago. You ought to know that not 1 man out of 100 ever marries a girl after sparking her for 3 or 4 years. He gets tired out and goes looking for someone else, and she's glad to see him go. If Joe loves you, and you seem to believe he does, I'm going to bring him to book or send him jogging. I'm a determined woman, and it's no use to oppose me when I get my mind made up." Grandma Ray means business. Grandma Ray didn't take the dallying lover out behind the cider mill and ask him what he meant to do. That wouldn't have been a woman's way at all. After a little planning, she arranged matters so that the son of a neighboring farmer drove Hannah to the village to do some trading and escorted her to the country meeting house of a Sunday evening to hear the sermon. The idea was to make Joe Beebe jealous, but it was an utter failure. All he said in reference to the matter was to ask Hannah if the price of calico had gone up and if the sermon was about Jonah and the whale. Something else must be done, and it was done. Grandma Ray threw out some hints that one of Hannah's aunts living in Illinois wanted her to come out there on a visit and stay 6 months. "It might be a good idea," mused Joe in reply, "as she seems to have lost her appetite lately." "You know what it would mean, don't you?" sharply inquired Grandma. "She'd get her appetite back, maybe." "But we'd never get her back. There'd be 40 young fellers wanting to marry her inside of a month. Illinois is a great place for getting married. One of my granddaughters went out there 2 years ago, and she was snapped up inside of a month. The house couldn't hold the young fellers who wanted to marry her, and she just had her pick of the lot. The fellers she got had 2 farms and a heap of money in the bank, and they went on a wedding tower lasting 2 weeks. What do you think of that?" "It would be a great chance for Hannah," replied Joe, as he scanned the sky to see what the weather was going to be the next day. "And even if she could stand out again, the young fellers," continued Grandma, "she'd go out blackberrying some day, and a bear would eat her up, or a rattlesnake bite her. You don't seem to know much about Illinois." "No, I don't." "Well, let me tell you that there are rattlesnakes in every meadow and bears behind every bush, and a young girl has simply got to get married to save her life." "If there are bears out there, she ought to take a dog along with her," said Joe. "And if there are rattlesnakes, she ought to wear rubber boots. I'll remember to speak to her about it." "It wouldn't do the least bit of good. The news would come back here in less than 6 weeks that poor Hannah was either dead or married." And we wouldn't never see her again? Never in all this world. If she got married, she'd want to stay out there, having nothing to come back for. And if she died, she'd be buried there by her relatives. What do you think we'd better do about it? Why, I guess we'll tell her she hadn't better go. Grandma Ray was balked again, but she had another card to play. The next time the lover appeared at the house, she was waiting for him at the gate. She gave him the warmest kind of greeting. She hung on his arm and giggled, and she held his hand and tittered. While he was looking at her in amazement, she cuddled up to him and said, "Joey, dear, I couldn't sleep last night for thinking of you." "How did you happen to think of me?" he asked. "You are so big and strong and noble that I hate to see you wreck your happiness marrying the wrong woman." "Oh, Joey, if what?" I will not dare tell you." "Don't let Hannah know that I met you this evening, or she will suspect the truth. I shall go now, dear, but you will be in my thoughts every moment until I see you again." That evening Hannah Ray found Joe Beebe as dull as a bump on a log, and was considerably relieved when he made an early departure. Joe had received a jar. As near as he could figure it out, Grandma Ray had fallen in love with him, and what he was going to do about it was a matter for serious consideration. He almost expected her to start up out of the darkness at every fence corner as he made his way homewards, and sleep was long in coming to him after he got to bed. He went to his work next morning with the feeling that something was going to happen, and the feeling proved true. At about 10 o'clock, Grandma appeared in the field where he was hoeing corn and precipitated herself into his arms. What's the matter?" asked Joe as the corn stalks seemed to dance around him. "Oh, Joey, dear, but I couldn't wait till you came again. I couldn't do it," gasped Grandma. "Is anybody dead or anything?" No, Joey. Can't you read a woman's heart? Haven't I made it plain to you that you ain't going crazy, are you?" "No, Joey, it is simply that I have fallen madly in love with you, and demand that my love be returned. From the moment I set eyes on you, I determined that you should be mine and mine alone. I am 65 years old, while you are 25, but I will be girly. I can get face powder and paints and false hair and pads, and you will think I'm only 20, dear Joey." "Stop," interrupted Joe. "Don't you know that I'm engaged to Hannah?" "I do, dear, but you must break it or break my heart. She can't love you as I do." "But I know she does." "Then you don't love her as you should, or you would have married her long ago, darling. Let Hannah go. Take me in your arms and say you love me. And tonight let us fly far, far away and be happy." "Not by a darn sight," replied Joe, and he dropped his hoe and headed across the fields for the Ray house. Arriving there, he stalked into the kitchen where Hannah was churning and kissed her and said, "See here, Han, I want you to be all ready at 1 o'clock this afternoon to drive over to Squire Johnson's with me." "For Mary's sake, but for what?" "To get married. That's all. Be ready when I drive up." What do you think of that? Wasn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to do a video. So that's that story. Tell me what you think about that. Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh, how cute are these? Oh my gosh, so cute. Anyway, that's it for today. You guys take care, and I'll see you again in the next reading. Bye.